I'd like to call the January 5th, 2021 meeting of the East Long Meadow Planning Board to order. So I'll do a quick, I need to announce that this meeting is being recorded by LCAT. And if there's anyone else in the audience who might be recording the meeting, would you please raise your Zoom hand and be recognized? Hearing none, I would like to do a call of the roll, and those in attendance are Tide Richards, Pete Punderson, John Torsha, George Kingston, the Director of Planning and Community Development, Bethany Yao, and Rebecca Jones. So I believe that we were sent the minutes of our previous meeting. Have people had an opportunity to review them? And do I hear a motion?
So moved to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So George, can you just state the meeting date?
No.
Rebecca, what was the meeting date of the minutes?
December 8th.
Okay.
So there was a motion made and seconded to approve the meeting minutes of December 8th. So by roll call, Mr. Richards?
Yes.
Mr. Punderson?
Aye.
Mr. Torsha?
Aye.
Mr. Kingston?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well, so that item passes.
Echo, stop.
Mr. Clerk, the first item of business, please.
Our very first one of the new year. So we have SPRW 2021-01 daycare request for site plan review waiver for a daycare for Roots Learning Center at 126 Industrial Drive, assessors parcel ID 9-3-18 on a 4.96 plus or minus acre site in the Industrial Garden Zoning District. The applicant is Roots Learning Center, Inc. at 126 Industrial Drive, East Long Meadow, Mass.
And do we have the petitioner in the meeting?
I would bring in Luke. Jamie, if possible, he is the representative for this applicant.
Okay.
Good evening. This is Luke Showalter.
Hello. So we can hear you, but we can't see you. There you go. Okay. Welcome. So why don't you tell us about your project and the plans and what you have in mind?
Yeah. So the existing facility is already Arbor's Kids, which is a daycare facility already. And essentially the new owner would be replicating the exact same business. He has two other daycares in Westfield, Mass. And so he's buying and nothing is really going to change at all. He's going to keep the same type of programs that are there, including the after school programs and the daycare classes. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just changing ownership, really. Nothing about the site will change. It's all staying the same.
Okay. Do any of the members of the board have any questions of the petitioner?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
This is a child care facility, which is under site plan only. It is not a special permit. And so unless they change the footprint, it's pretty much straightforward.
Yep. And Mr. Showalter, there will be no changes to the building at all, to the footprint?
None at all.
Okay.
No.
Hearing no other questions, do I hear a motion on this item?
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion to approve the waiver.
All right, so we have a motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Made and seconded. So by roll call, Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Mr. Torsha,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well, so that item passes. Best of luck to you in that location.
Thank you very much.
All
Have a
right,
good night.
thank you.
We have an A&R A&R 2021-01, 394 Porter Road. Request by applicant for endorsement of a plan believed not to be required subdivision approval under the subdivision control law to combine 392 Porter Road, assessors parcel ID 70-2-0, and Porter Road, assessors parcel ID 70-3-0, into a combined parcel totaling 1.53 plus or minus acres located in residential A zoning district. Applicant is Raymond Gilbert, 392 Porter Road, East Long Meadow, Mass.
Is the petitioner here in the meeting? Rebecca, you're
Sorry,
muted.
I don't see him. I spoke with him twice today and he had the Zoom instructions, so not sure.
So we can delay this until we're near the end of our meeting and kind of recall it. So,
Okay.
so the next item, Mr. Clerk?
This is other business, Hometown Lawn and Property Service LLC. Discussion of existing site plan waiver for home office at 158 Maple Street, assessors parcel ID 17-28-5 in a residential B zoning district. The applicant is Daniel Beauregard, 158 Maple Street, East Long Meadow, Mass.
So Bethany, are you here? And Mr. Beauregard?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Bethany, are you here?
Yeah, my internet's struggling, so that's why I have
Okay.
the video off.
So do you want to begin and let the board know what we're trying to do here?
Sure. So this is originally a site plan waiver for a home office. He's come in to renew his business certificate. There's been a number of zoning violations issued in the past, and the building inspector, Kevin Duquette, is waiting for the board's determination on how to proceed given the zoning violations.
So can you tell the board how many different times this property has been cited for a zoning violation?
I don't know if I have a specific number. I think Kevin just said it'd been several times. Let me see.
What are the violations?
I can chime in if that's okay to fill
Sure.
that in.
Sure.
So I had one warning and one violation. It was both for having my trucks parked in the driveway, commercial truck. After receiving the first warning, Kevin Duquette mentioned I could get a carport to hide the vehicle and leave it on site, which I did. That lasted about 2 months before a windstorm damaged it, ruined it, and the truck was exposed and I got the violation. I've since found a location to keep the trucks parked off site, and that was the main violation, and that's the reasoning for the issue with renewing the business license according to the town hall.
Well, so just reading the initial determination from the planning board back in 2016, I think there was a commitment by you that you would not be storing materials for your business at that location, and you would not have specific do business there at that location. All summer long, you had trucks parked on Maple Street. You stopped traffic so that your trucks could pull in and out of your driveway. You loaded, unloaded materials the entire time. You actually caused traffic backups on Maple Street. There were people who fell over the trailers, the end of the trailers that were down, so you could put materials into the trucks. I mean, you ran a business from that location.
As far as not keeping equipment or materials, I didn't realize that would be a part of the issue. It was not conducting business when I was told was make sure I didn't have customers coming to the property. The loading and unloading was just putting equipment in the morning and in the afternoon. It's not throughout the day. It was just morning loading and afternoon, which I apologize. I didn't realize that wasn't supposed to be part of the process where I couldn't have, them stopping there for a short period of time to do that. I try to conduct it, at a certain specific time in the morning and make it as fluid as possible. So they're out there for maybe 10 minutes or so in the morning. Afternoon, it's usually obviously when we're just unloading. That time does vary a bit. But as far as the warnings or their notifications for violations was just about leaving the trucks parked there after business hours in the evening time. And that's what the warning was. It was never about loading or unloading. It was never brought to my attention that was a problem or a concern.
But you do not deny the fact that at any time throughout the course of the day, usually first thing in the morning or at 5 o'clock or even sometimes at noon, you would have vehicles park on Maple Street. You would have a truck with a trailer. Sometimes they were on both sides of Maple Street at the exact same time. One of the vehicles would pull into the driveway, get loaded and unloaded, pull out, and then another truck would go into Maple Street, block the traffic, go back into your driveway, so the same type of loading and unloading could go on. And you didn't consider that to be, quote, running a business from your home.
I didn't see that was part of what the violation or the concern was. I wasn't notified that was the concern. If that had been brought to my attention, I could address that separately as well. But my violation warning and the actual violation was for just leaving vehicles parked after hours. That's all the notification was for. So this is the first that someone's mentioning that was unacceptable.
But that house is located in a residential zone. Residential zone, you cannot operate a full-scale business in a residential district in the town.
Okay.
So can you also tell us why your employees' vehicles were parked throughout the course of the day in the high school parking lot?
I spoke with the officer that runs the school in the back there, and he mentioned that was not an issue.
Okay.
So he brought to my attention. I didn't just, without asking permission, I went to ask if that was a way I could possibly do it, if I could pay for permits for parking, and they said that wasn't a concern or an issue. So the parking lot doesn't get used up to that point. I do have a situation where I have vehicles now parked other places, and the couple of the employees that usually grab the trucks usually leave their vehicles there and swap it out. I usually do have one or two that still park here, but I can leave them to go with where the trucks are parked as well going forward, and that they're not parked back there if that's concerned. But I did ask for permission with that first before parking vehicles back there.
Any other members of the board have a question?
Just a comment, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Typically, a waiver for home office is simply for home office, meaning that a computer, billing, advertising, whatever, out of the house does not cover actual operations of the business. That unless this business is realigned to operate out of another location, operate in terms of trucks, employees, equipment, supplies, that a waiver for a home office is not appropriate for this location, in my opinion.
Go ahead, George. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay. So, Mr. Beauregard, do you have plans to not operate a full-scale business at that location moving forward?
Yes, I have another storage facility which I'm incorporated in Indian Orchard that I've been starting to move some of the equipment over to. Originally, like I said, when I put the waiver in or had gotten the original business certificate, was for home office and storage of some landscape equipment inside the garage that would be non-visible, when people are driving by, when it's all shut up and closed up. But I do have another location that I am currently already moving equipment into. For facility-wise, just because I want to eliminate the aspects of having the business or any of the equipment and things of that nature at my residence as well. The business is continuing to grow, so I'm trying to accommodate that and move forward and move my equipment and vehicles elsewhere, which I've already, vehicles that have already been done. I'd like to still just have the home office portion here in my location, because it is still not quite large scale enough to be able to afford office building supplies, anything like that, outside of just a storage facility at this point.
So obviously, so as Mr. Kingston said, so, you know, doing your billing, doing your collecting, taking your phone calls, you know, that type of thing, that's all very legitimate under the site plan waiver in which you got, as long as there aren't people going to that location. So you still have certain pieces of equipment in your garage?
I still have a couple of lawnmowers that are getting transferred over. We are in the middle of organizing the new storage facility. It's a shared space, so we're organizing it and moving some equipment over there. So I mean, it's a pretty quick transition. As soon as I get set up, probably by the end of the week, I'll have everything over there. So there's not a lot in the garage. It's just a few pieces here and there.
So I guess I'm going to ask this question. So are you making a commitment to this board that moving forward, you will comply with the terms of the site plan waiver that was granted to you and not operate with all the trucks and the trailers and the employees coming and going from that location moving forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Other board members have any questions?
What is the location in Indian Orchard?
It is 4-6 Rogers Ave in Indian Orchard.
Thank you.
Well, you know, hearing Mr. Beauregard's commitments to this board and hearing his plans to locate his equipment and his employees over to the Springfield location, I don't see a need that we take any action with respect to the site plan waiver, but I will leave that to the rest of the board to see what your thoughts are on that.
I'd like to have like well, it's winter time now, so maybe a review on it by June or July by the building inspector. Because you know, the commotion in the street isn't good for the neighborhood or traffic or safety. And employees aren't supposed to show up at the house and park their car at the house or behind the house. So I think we need to have some sort of review if we can. I'm not sure if that's possible.
We can schedule that.
I would move to extend the waiver subject to review in July of 2021 with the caveat that we can revoke it if the assertions made by the applicant are not fulfilled.
Is that a motion, George?
Yes, it is.
Do I have a second on that?
I would second that.
All right, motion made in second. Mr. Beauregard, anything you want to add before we vote on that?
No. The only question I would have in regards to servicing my own property, I don't want to be an issue or a liability, but my equipment that I no longer will keep storing here that I need to service my property, is that going to be an issue if I park it in front like I do other customers on main roads with hazards on and servicing my own property?
That's completely fine.
That's
I just
fine.
don't want that to be someone thinking I'm violating
No, that's
rules
fine.
and regulations. So
That's fine.
Okay.
So Beth, so why don't we take a vote on this? So by roll call, Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Mr. Torsha,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. So Bethany, with respect to the business certificate, I guess you would know what the board's feeling is.
Yep.
And that there shouldn't be an issue with the building inspector signing off on that.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mr. Beauregard.
all right, thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again.
So has the A&R petitioner come into the Zoom meeting?
I don't see him, no.
All right. So I believe the next item is just the director's report. So Bethany, do you want to step in?
Sure. I was just going to update the board on the master plan steering committee. We have another meeting on Thursday at 3 p.m. If you'd like to tune in, feel free to. We have the agenda posted under the planning board section on the website. In that meeting, we'll be meeting the engagement consultant that Pioneer Valley Planning Commission has brought on board to help work with us and create some platforms to reach out to the community virtually as we're in the pandemic still.
Okay. So on the 19th, maybe you could just give a very quick recap on the issue of the pet care location.
Sure. So there's been the issue that's been on the news of the dog attack, where the dog that was attacked unfortunately passed away. What the planning board is addressing are the zoning violations that Kevin Duquette has written up, and those will be sent out in the packets for your review prior to the meeting. It's a public meeting, so it will be advertised. I mean, not advertised, but the owner of the business was notified by certified mail, and that's what the holdup is. We were hoping to have them at the earlier January meeting.
Okay.
So essentially it will be, and George, feel free to pipe in if I got the procedure wrong, but it'll be a public meeting to address the zoning issues noted by Kevin Duquette. And the business owner will be there. I also know that the dog passed away. That's Amy Baxter is the owner of that dog. She will be in attendance, and I believe a few other dog owners who use that facility will be present as well. So I'm not sure if the board will be entertaining opinions from the public during that meeting, or if it's simply to discuss it with the business owner.
If I may
Sure.
make two comments here. First of all, I would ask the board to review our zoning bylaw as it addresses kennels and pet daycares, including the definitions that are written into our zoning bylaw. I would also ask Bethany to forward to the board any state laws or regulations relating to kennels, because there's a lot of confusion here about what a kennel license actually means and what regulations the state has regarding kennels, which are minimal, if non-existent. And so if the board can come in with a clear vision of what state law and regulations say and what our bylaw says, I think we'll be in much better shape to address this publicly.
But so let me just add a little bit further. So this is essentially a hearing on whether the special permit should be revoked due to certain conditions within the special permit not being met.
Correct.
And so we would ask that Mr. Duquette be on the call. We would ask that the animal control officer be on the call.
Right.
And I guess I would like a clarification. Is it a public meeting or is it a public hearing?
Public meeting.
Okay. And can I just ask where you got that, Bethany?
That was from past procedures, but also in the bylaws.
So then it would be my determination then, if it's a public meeting, that we certainly would want to hear from Mr. Duquette and the animal control officer representing the town and yourself, and hear from the business owner. But it's not necessary by law that we then hear from other individuals. Is that correct?
Yes.
And that if we do open it, we have the ability to control the number of people who speak and the length in which they were to speak.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
excuse me. I had a talk with Amy on the phone the other day, and I encouraged her to have the other people that have witnessed the violations over there come to the meeting. That's why there's going to be 3 or 4 of them total.
Okay.
And then I talked with George about it, and George, gave me a lot of information as to, there's not really a lot of clarity here,
Mhm.
but certainly she has violated the bylaw of East Long Meadow.
All right, and yes, John.
Just as a clarification, I haven't heard of this story. Which kennel was this?
This is Pampered Pets.
Oh, okay.
So I believe they received a special permit in 2018. So it's up by Friendly's and across from Kelly Fredette.
Oh, okay. I know. Yes, I know what you're talking about now.
And Bethany, what else do we have on the agenda for that evening that might be already in?
At the moment, I believe we just have a pending site plan waiver, but no public hearings.
Okay. Anything else you want to add in your director's report?
Nope, that covers it.
Any old business, any new business from the members of the board? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn by roll call. Mr. Richards,
Yes.
Mr. Punderson,
Aye.
Mr. Torsha,
Aye.
Mr. Kingston,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Happy New Year, everyone. See
Happy
you.
New Year.
There you go.
Have a good
Have a
night.
good
night.